Alright, all yours.
Hey guys, welcome back to the video. Once again, we are in the parking lot, and therefore, we're going to do another review video. Tonight's film was none other than Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. DJ, 1 to 10.
I kind of want to give it a 10, but I'm going to give it a 9.
Okay, why?
So, for this film, it was absolute blast. It was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. I think there's a few things I might be nitpicky about to give it that 9, and I'll talk about it a little later, but the biggest thing, the pacing is on point. The continuation of the saga is on point. The characters are on point. The villain's really good. The mix between the characters is really good. Honestly, the only parts that get nitpicky for me is there's a few moments when they're interacting with each other where it gets a little jarry, but that's about it.
That's fair. That's fair. Alright. I also give it a 9. I enjoyed this film a lot. I really like the Guardians of the Galaxy films. They do a good job with all of them. We were talking about it a little bit. The only thing that really sucks is Marvel tried to copy the formula for Guardians of the Galaxy, thinking that the formula was the successful part, but it's really kind of the characters.
It's the characters. It's these particular characters and their interactions with each other that makes this series work. So many of the other Marvel properties have main characters or side characters, or everybody in general in the character arcs are all their type of people. That they're all either very heroic or very they have a personality trait that works well, and the Avengers gets kind of close to getting a little bit of bickering and fighting with like the way the characters, but they all just kind of meld too well together. These characters work really well off of each other because they're so different.
That's fair.
They come from various backgrounds. A lot of them have been criminals in their past, and so they're so welcoming to just everyone. Even if they don't get along directly, they see each other for what they're worth, and they just make it work.
Yeah, definitely. But I mean, overall, as a film, the story was interesting. The villain was great. Like, okay, I'm not going to actually say great. He was a good villain. The parts that I enjoyed about the film was really just the pace was good, the humor was on point, the visuals were great, the cinematography they did a very good job shooting the entire film.
The cinematography was fantastic. There's a few scenes I'll talk about when we get to spoilers later that I had some issue with. Like, that's where I give it the 9, that I actually had issue with the plotting or what was going on, but the actual filming of it was still spectacular regardless of what was going on. Absolutely. Like, it just looked beautiful.
It was captivating.
Yes.
The music was very well done. The actual like score. So a lot of people don't really pay attention to the score of these films because they're focused on the music that they pick. So it's Guardians of the Galaxy. They're going to have a bunch of these classic older songs. Mm-hmm. But the actual score, like the composed score, mm-hmm. is fantastic. I'm not going to lie, there are scenes in this film that, like, I do not cry for films, and I was on the verge of tears. Just beautifully shot, beautiful moments. The acting was really well done. The score just blended perfectly. It is a wonderful film. Just wonderful film.
Absolutely.
If you like Guardians of the Galaxy, you're going to love this film.
Yes, and it's a great way to send off some of these. It's just absolutely amazing to just do this. Like, it kind of caps it as a trilogy really well and gives it some closure to some arcs and stuff and things while still leaving things open. It just does a really fantastic job of taking characters that we've come to know, come to love, come to care about, and giving them more purpose. That was part of my fear coming into this, is I wasn't sure motivation-wise what they would give the characters to help them move forward, and they do a really fantastic job of giving them motivations that make sense and works with the plot without feeling forced. Just a really fantastic job.
Yeah, they did a great job. every single one of the characters, they felt like they went through their own individual journeys and things like that. They all had their own personal things that they were dealing with throughout the conflict. They all showed them very, very well, not just working together, but individually. None of the characters felt like they were the weak chain or just the add-on character. We were rooting for the entire team together, but we are also rooting for each of the individual characters. There's great tension. There's a lot of great shots. There's a lot of great scenes. Like I said, it's captivating. It's just a wonderful film. So 5 minutes 35, a little quicker than usual, guys, but I think we're ready to move into spoilers.
Okay, yeah, all right, let's do spoilers then.
All right,
hold on. Okay, guys, spoilers.
The jacket's
spoilers.
Off, you should know.
I can't believe Rocket died. What the crap, man?
Rocket? You mean when they kill off Peter Quill?
Oh, and when Gamora died and Jax, oh my gosh.
And then Mantis, like, she did not have to go out there.
Oh, that's so terrible. Okay, nobody dies in this movie except for the bad guy.
Nobody dies in this movie except for the part that almost made me cry. They killed the otter. I was hoping the otter would come back.
Gosh,
that scene was gut-wrenching.
So that's not true. A ton of people die, but none of the main characters die. So to get into a little mood here, actually the thing that bothers me is not that nobody dies. So in the second film, Yondu dying, sacrifice himself is a really heart-wrenching moment, and it's important. None of the main characters dying in this doesn't feel cheated. You don't feel cheated in this because it feels earned. Never have I watched a film where, like, I expected or even almost kind of hoped someone would die to pull it in, and no one dies, and I'm actually happy for that because they do such a good job of making you feel like it was earned. Like, they worked hard to not die, and it shows.
Well, and that was the thing, like I said earlier, just the tension in this film is so great. Because you're going into this film, and I don't know if they did this on purpose. This would have been a nitpick of mine if this film had not been good. That all of the actors started announcing the fact that they were done with the certain characters, that they were retiring from the certain characters. So I was going into this film going, oh, like Dave Bautista said, he's not ever going to do Drax again. Drax is extremely expendable now. Or Gamora's actress said that she's not going to do it anymore, so she's extremely expendable.
I still believe it's full. I mean, they may still actually be doing it, but Marvel's really good about telling people, hey, if you're, go ahead and announce this, go ahead and do this, because it feels like they wanted you to believe that someone was going to die. So the whole movie, you're like, which one is it? Who's going to die? And every moment, you're like, oh, it's them. Oh, it's that person. And that actually works really well. It doesn't feel I don't feel cheated like it was a gimmick. It feels earned. It feels like those characters really were on the verge of death, and anyone could have been killed. Like, anyone could have died. It gets rough. Like, there's these moments where, like, oh, this is it. This is how they die. And then they don't. And you're like, oh, okay. Well, they made it one more scene.
Yeah. The one that I thought was actually going to be a death scene was Peter Quill.
That one.
Like, that one, they set it up. The music was there. Everything was there. He's literally freezing in space. Like, Yondu, he's swelling up, like, because of the pressure of space. And then they have this shot where they recreated God and Adam with... his name's Adam Warlock.
Yeah, his name's
Adam Warlock and Peter Quill are doing, like, the thing. And it's a beautiful shot. And the moment that I saw that shot, I was like, oh, he's not dead.
All right, so I kind of want to get into a few of the newer characters specifically, because we know a lot of the other Guardians and maybe some of the new dynamics.
Yeah, and they all play very similar to the rest of them. None of them are radically different or anything like that. They all have a very similar dynamic. If anything, they play the characters even better because they've worked together for so long. They have such great chemistry. Exactly. The original Guardians are just really, really well done. I have to give props to Gamora, though, because she's kind of technically playing a different character.
She is, and she does it really well.
Yeah, it's so
holy crap, Zoe Saldana did such an amazing job.
She knocked it out of the park.
Of playing Gamora not as Gamora. It's fantastic. Nebula is kind of changing and becoming more, she's still kind of her jerky self, but she's trying to be more altruistic and caring.
Yep.
That's coming more out of her, and you're seeing that side of her. Drax is a little more intelligently played off. He's less played for laughs, and he's more like becoming a member. there's still some goofiness there, and a lot of the humor does come from him and Mantis, but they all hold their own. It's not this jokey, silly, Mantis is just your barely hold. No, they all fight well. They all hold their own. They all, as a team, work together.
And the way that the humor's played out and stuff like that, none of the characters feel like the butt of the joke.
Correct.
Like, yes, they make fun of, like, Drax and stuff because he's dense, and they make fun of Mantis because of the way that she acts, but they make fun of literally
everybody in this one.
So.
The making fun of each other is more like a family being goofy around each other, rather than them, like in the first two films where the like this person is the butt of the joke. It actually felt like they were all had a dynamic together.
Absolutely.
Cosmo's awesome. Has a main role, and it's comic accurate, psychic abilities, acts very doggish.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
Oh hey, I'm good dog, right? I'm good dog.
The rest, like 3/4 of the film, there's literally a running gag that the guy with the fin calls her a bad dog because she annoys him. She does something that annoys him, so he's like, "You're a bad dog." And for she's 3/4 of the film, she's like, "No, I'm a good dog, right? I'm a good dog. I'm not a bad dog."
Yeah. She's like taking it personally, and that is Cosmo's character from the. It's so well done.
It feels natural.
Yes.
And the other thing is that I really, really enjoyed this film. This might be my favorite film so far of 2020.
It was really good.
Like,
what about Adam Warlock? What do you think of that character?
He was great. Like, they play him off as he's just a dumb kid. He's literally a child who just wants to please his mother, and he does not understand what he is doing or why he is doing it.
He has a great arc from the beginning to the end of the film. The way he's introduced it's not even like this easy introduction. He just blasts his way into the story. Literally
is the most abrupt introduction, but it fits so well.
Works. Like they literally like it's like taking a gunshot to the script, just blam, and then he comes in like a bullet, and then but somehow it makes sense and it works. It's so well done.
Like, he actually causes the entire plot if you think about it, because he goes in to retrieve Rocket, but he didn't understand his objective, so he ends up almost killing Rocket, which causes the entire plot. So,
and he just grows up during the film. He becomes empathetic, and it gets a great payoff because at the end of the film he becomes a guardian.
Yeah, and he wants to help others at the end of it too, because he's been given a second chance, and that was just a great story moment. The fact that all of the characters in the Guardians team understand Groot and actually translate for the audience was great. Yeah,
that was really good.
That was a really nice new dynamic that they added into it.
And Gamora not understanding it, like, are you guys just making up what he's saying?
Yeah, like, there's a couple of times.
That was a great comment. It's just like, he's just making this up. And then there is one moment in the film where Groot actually talks, and it's really good because it's the only in the entire film. And then you actually get to really hear Vin Diesel's voice because he actually says words that are different than I am Groot, and he says I love you guys, and everybody in the theater's like both like shocked but like relieved, and like it's like, okay, that was good.
Literally it was like
there are moments in this film that in a lot of other films I'd be like, oh come on, that were just like, yes. Every time I went from one scene to the next, I'm like, okay, I have no idea what's gonna happen.
Exactly.
I can't predict anything in this film anymore, and it felt really nice.
It was great. The screenplay just is fantastic. Like, such a great film.
So to close out, let's just give a couple of the things that we didn't like. So if you want to start,
I hate the fact that they killed the otter. I love otters. Otters are my favorite animal ever. And when they had the otter, like in the trailers, I was like, "There's going to be an otter."
When she gets shot, and then you see her.
It's kind of a joke. It's not really a bad part of the film. I just personally love otters. I hate the fact that they killed her, but like it works. It works. So I don't know. Like, bad parts of the film, like, I'm having a very hard time finding something that's actually.
I have two that I can actually put on. When they go into the initial break-in scene, the pacing kind of falls. All of the parts are good. Like, the acting's great, the dialogue is great, the dynamics is great, but the movie stalls just a little bit. The other part is the villain, High Evolutionary. I actually think he could have been in it more. They do a really good job of making them the villain in the flashbacks. They do a really good job of making him the villain at the scene towards the end. But for the rest of the film, he's just kind of a jerk. He's not really a villain.
Yeah.
But
and
that's okay. But man, he had such a strong presence. I kind of wish he was in the movie a little more.
That's fair. And the other thing too is that they constantly bring him in, and you're like, oh man, they're going to fight. But then they find their way out of the final confrontation. They always find their way out of the scene. They always find a way to separate them.
He never fights. He doesn't fight any of the Guardians till the very, very end.
And then he is.
And then he gets obliterated. And it's justified, and it's great. It just would have felt more if he'd have fought them earlier and beat them down a little bit. Instead, he just kind of runs away. He just runs away the whole movie.
That's fair.
And so that's it. It's more of a presence from him to the Guardians would have been great. Now, again, they play that off really well because they make a speech where he's like, oh, just some other psychopath whose daddy didn't love him enough who just wants to freaking take over the world. He's like, I don't want to take over the world. He's like, I don't care what you want. Like, he's monologuing. And he just goes, shut up. I don't care. Kill everybody, Groot. And then they just waste everyone.
That was a great scene.
It was an absolutely great scene. And he's just done. Like, seeing Peter Quill just break down and finally be done. I'm just done with everybody. You're all going to die. I don't care anymore.
I guess maybe my negative is they fall into the trope of accidentaling themselves into the plot.
Yeah.
I just found it a little annoying because it just was one of those things where when they ended up on the bottom of the ship trying to get in, like, it was a great scene. Don't get me wrong. They're literally like, we need to get to Quill, and then he's like falling behind them, and you just hear, ah!
They didn't see it, actually. That was actually a pretty clever scene.
And you just heard
because
it.
I was waiting for them to like, oh, was that him? They didn't. And I was like, okay, that was kind of cool. Yeah, I was with you. I was like, oh, here they go. Here's that trope.
Yeah.
But then when they get when that fight happens and the script literally excoriates them for that, it makes them pay for it. I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm okay with that trope now because they paid a price for it.
That's fair. It is a great film. If you have seen it, you know. If you haven't seen it yet, we've spoiled it all. It's still going to be a great film.
It is so good. It's good.
The end credits scene, like the last end credits scene, I'm not going to lie, it felt like old school Marvel. I'm like super excited about that announcement at the end.
It's great.
It's what Marvel can be, has been, and should be.
Agree completely.
It's just wonderful. I cannot say enough how wonderful this film is.
All right, close this out.
All right, guys. We went a little bit longer than normal, but when you have a great film, you got to talk about it.
Man, it's good.
And this is a film that we could talk about forever. It's just so fun. Speaking of fun things, we're having so much fun making this channel, and I hope that you're having fun watching our content. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe. Let us know how we're doing. Let us know what you thought about this film and this video. But also let us know how we're doing. We're creating different shows and things like that, and we're excited to have you be able to watch it. Share us with your friends, and also we're building our community more on Facebook. So check us out at Entertainment Rebooted on Facebook. And until next time, I guess, we'll see you guys in the next video.
Thanks for watching.